And hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Before we do get into today's video, as always, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more Celtic content. So I hope you guys are all okay. To be completely honest with you, news around Celtic in the last few days hasn't been too busy. There's been quite quiet. And considering it is a transfer window, that is quite concerning because we are still in desperate need of certain positions to be improved upon. Of course, we spoke recently about the left-back position. Greg Taylor still being the only first-team left-back at the club. We feel like we need another centre-half as well to really add depth into that position, and possibly as well someone to replace Scales and become a first-team starter over him, and him and Carter Vickers together. And of course, on the right wing as well, that'd been an area to be improved upon as well. We spoke about Nicholas Kuhn, his great start to the season. If he can perform like that consistently, that position may be okay for this season. We can reevaluate it in January. But the two for me are centre half and left back that need to be improved upon immediately. And given the fact that the transfer news around Celtic is pretty sparse and pretty quiet, it is quite concerning because, of course, we are in need of those positions. But a player that we have been linked to before in one of those positions, centre-half, is Darragh O'Shea, of course, the Burnley centre-back. Now, Celtic were kind of one of the leading runners for this defender at the start of the transfer window. We thought this deal could have been done and dusted because there was a lot of interest from Celtic's way towards Darragh O'Shea. But it now appears that that transfer is looking more and more unlikely to happen, which is really frustrating. So, Celtic's chances of signing Darragh O'Shea are diminishing as Brentford step up their pursuit with a second bid for the Burnley defender, reports Graham Bailey. So O'Shea, who joined Burnley for £7 million last summer, has become a target for Thomas Frank's team as they prepare for the upcoming Premier League campaign. It was thought earlier this summer that Burnley would command a significant fee, which put the deal in doubt early on. Celtic's search for a left-sided central defender to partner with Cameron Carter-Vickers continues, with Liam Scales the main man. Stephen Welsh still seems to be in Rodgers' plans, with the club not willing to let him leave this summer. Meanwhile, Celtic are keen to let Gustav Lagerbilk, Mark Nowacki and Yuki Kobayashi leave the club. It looks like O'Shea won't be heading north of the border. So now it's time for Celtic to move on to other targets and to do so fast. Of course, we are now in the last month of the transfer window and we can't afford to go into the Champions League with Liam Scales starting, in my opinion, as well. So, yeah, I mean, this is really, really annoying because, you know, he joined Burnley, last summer for £7 million. Now, I imagine Burnley want to regain the fee that they paid for him. Of course, Burnley were relegated last season. So they can't command a bigger fee for him, given the fact that he's probably a Premier League level player and Premier League teams want him, such as Brentford, of course. So I reckon they would have been asking for around £7 million just to get the money back they paid for him last summer. And Celtic have more than enough money to pay that. We have more than enough to pay £7 million for Darragh O'Shea. So it's really frustrating we let this one slip through the crack a little bit, and he's no longer coming to Celtic. He's going to head to Brentford instead. It just shows a lack of ambition by the Celtic board again. A player that would come into the team, be a starting centre-back for us. Of course, no transfer is a guaranteed success, but you feel like this guy would come in and he wouldn't take long to adapt to the league. He wouldn't take long to adapt to Rodgers' tactics and the way he wants him to play. I feel like it would have been a pretty smooth transition from Burnley to Celtic, and of course, he has a lot more experience. I think for me as well, he's a lot more competent of a defender than Scales for sure. Look, I'm not here to slag off Liam Scales. I think he's a great defender, but I just don't think he's at that quality that we need, especially for the Champions League as well. You know, we're talking about our ambitions to be getting out these group stages in the Champions League or the new league phase, try and qualify out of that league phase this season. And, you know, for us not to make any moves for any first-team players, really this transfer window, bar the goalkeeper, and you could say Paulo Bernardo as well. He's more rotation if Matt O'Reilly stays at the club. But for us to sign one first-team player this transfer window is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, we know that we had to improve drastically. There's areas in the pitch that needs to be improved upon massively as well. I forgot to mention striker earlier on as well. That's another area that needs to be improved upon. But for us to have that little ambition to go after a Darragh O'Shea for £7 million, we can more than afford that. And it just seems like we don't want to put our hands in our pockets and pay the money for these quality players that we know would help us so much this season, domestically and in Europe, of course. So Yeah, I'm really annoyed about this whole transfer situation because, this one could have been such a good signing for us. I'm not going to wallow on it too much, but it's just, again, another annoying transfer that could have happened that didn't happen due to the board's lack of ambition. So yeah, I am quite frustrated with this situation, to be completely honest with you guys. But Darrow O'Shea now looks like he's going to join Brentford on a transfer with Thomas Frank. Of course, it's a good little team to join. And they probably pay around like £7 million for him. It might be slightly more, but it's going to be around that fee that they paid last summer, just given the fact they got relegated last year as well. But yeah, I want to know your thoughts on this transfer situation with O'Shea, because of course he could have been such a good player for us, and it now looks like he's going to Brentford instead. Of course, it had gone pretty quiet in the last few weeks. I'm not too surprised that we're not going to get him, but for now to be in black and white that he's going to Brentford is even more heart-wrenching, because it's a bit more frustrating because how good he could have been for us. But yeah, not to slag off Liam Scales at all. I do think he's a good defender, but I think we need to improve that area for sure, and especially with Gustav Legebilk and Mark Nowocki and could be actually set to leave. Quality in depth, really, that's what we need as well. So that would have been a perfect signing for us at this transfer window. It's not going to happen, unfortunately, but we move on. We have to focus our attention elsewhere for other centre-half targets. It's going to be a pretty busy end to the transfer window. You'd expect it to be a pretty busy end to the transfer window. See what the Celtic board actually want to do, if they want to sign more players or not. I do think we'll still be busy. I think we're still going to go for another striker because that's a must as well. Left back, we are linked to Owen Beck constantly from Liverpool. There's a bit of competition for him with QPR and Birmingham City. And centre half, O'Shea. Other than O'Shea, there's been no real links to other centre backs, which again is quite concerning. But yeah, so another striker, hopefully Ida. A left back, I'll take Beck. I guess he's young, he could be good for us in the future. Again, not the first in quality that we want to get him through the door. More again of a project player, but we've seen how good he was at Dundee FC last season. I think he can do a good job for us and learn from Greg Taylor and try and exceed like Greg Taylor at some point throughout the season. But yeah, and of course we need a right-sided player as well. And now it looks like the Balikwisha transfer is completely off. That's not going to happen because he's injured. It looks like he's going to stay at Royal Antwerp this season. Which again, I'm not too fussed about the right winger. Some of you guys still think we should be going after one, which I do agree. Ideally, we should be, but I think there's more problematic areas in the pitch and need to be sorted first, such as striker, centre half, and left back. But yeah, as always, let me know what you made of what we discussed in today's video. What do you make of the O'Shea transfer situation? Comment down below your thoughts. Do you think it just shows the board's lack of ambition yet again? And if you haven't yet already, make sure you like the video and make sure you are subscribed to the channel for more Celtic content, because in the next few weeks now, about 3 weeks left of the transfer window, things ideally should be pretty hectic around Celtic. We should be getting more players coming in through the door. So yeah, subscribe and yeah, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.